If you've been into RC for any time at all, chances are you have a complete set of hex drivers and some nice screwdrivers, maybe a stand like this one that I've made, and certainly a good set of hex drivers is enough to assemble any car or truck, maintain it, and do all the things you have to do to keep your RC vehicle running right. But if you're doing jobs like assembling beadlocks like this with lots of screws, or you just do a lot of wrenching period, you've got kits with long transmission screws, a set of hex drivers, while it's going to get it done, is also going to pump up your wrists quite a bit. And that's why I'm checking out this. This is a hyper tough driver. This is actually the cheapest one I could find at Walmart that happens to include a clutch built into it, so you can set how much torque you're putting down and avoid stripping screws. But there are certainly much nicer units out there, Makita, Milwaukee, even some of the Black & Decker stuff that is not as cheap as this, but still inexpensive. Good tools for sure. This one at 15 bucks, if you want to get a power driver on the cheap, might be good. We're going to find out. We're going to open this up and see what's going on with the hyper tough 4-volt lithium ion cordless screwdriver. I don't expect this is going to be good for building a deck, and it even says on the back it's for hanging pictures, assembling furniture, crafts, household repairs. So obviously not meant to be a heavy duty tool, but it will hopefully get the job done for RC stuff. It takes 1/4-inch bits, which are easy to find in RC sizes. As far as what's included, you do get bladed and Phillips head sizes, plus a couple of drills and this extension piece for the 1/4-bit sockets. And it's got a 2-position handle, and what I like on this one is that the trigger is on the handle part. I've seen some tools where the trigger is up here, which I would think would be awkward when you're trying to hold it pistol grip style and work the trigger with your thumb instead of your trigger finger. And of course you can unfold that for a standard screwdriver style layout. So we'll open this up. I suspect the hyper tough part of this is that it's hyper tough to get the package open, but let's tear into this and see how we do. Well, there's the tool. Charger. This is very lightweight, by the way, so it's not going to be pumping out a lot of amps. And let's push these guys out. And there's your bits. Okay, so in terms of feel, it doesn't feel that bad. It's pretty solid. This is painted to look like it's cast, but it is plastic all the way through. And there must be a lock on here. There we go. So it's got some charge, which you would expect. It's lithium. And of course, a lithium battery will hold charge a lot better than a nickel metal hydride or a NiCad, which you can still find in some power tools. Looks like there's a charge meter here. So according to that, it looks like it's fully charged. And this, I assume, is the lock for the handle, which it is. All right, so I thought I would have to charge this up, but since it appears to be charged, we'll just go ahead and start trying it out on some stuff. And the first thing I'll need are some appropriate bits. I don't have any holes to drill right now, and these are too short for most RC uses because you're going to start hitting other parts of the car, and that's why this extension is going to be handy. But mostly I'll be using hex bits, and for that I've got a Dynamite tool that I will borrow some bits from, so let's grab that. Okay, this is the Dynamite multi-hex wrench set, and this is a tool that stores its bits in the handle, which I like very much. These are 1/4-inch bits, so these will work fine with our hyper tough tool. And I'm going to grab a 3/32. I'll put that in here, and that's magnetic so the bits don't fall out. And this is my B4 street buggy project I hope to one day finish. We'll go ahead and fire this screw right in. I've got the clutch set for number 1, which is the softest setting. So you can hear it load up when it gets to the bottom, but it does do the job just fine. And that clutch kicks in. And we'll go ahead and do a final tightening with a hand wrench just to see how tight it got. That's pretty good. There's about a 1/4 turn left for full tightness. And I would definitely rather have that clutch kick in a little early rather than a little late, because of course we don't want to strip anything. And this does have an LED in the front, which I don't really need so much because I have plenty of lighting, but it's a nice feature. And if I do wind up doing something in the garage or in the attic with this thing where I don't have good lighting, it will certainly come in handy. But again, this is definitely not a tool for big jobs. Something else I did want to check out too is how well that clutch works with very small screws, like in this Proline beadlock. So let's get the appropriate bit for that, which should be a 1.5. Yeah, there we go. I had it turned away so I couldn't see it. Let's put that in there. We'll back it out first. So let's go ahead and remove this screw. Now we'll fire it back in and see if that clutch engages or if we just strip it out. And there it goes. That's stripped. So for fine screws, you definitely do not want to use that clutch even on the softest setting. But you can certainly fire the screws in until they're just about bottomed out and then do the final tightening by hand, and that will still save you a lot of wrench time as opposed to doing them all by hand from start to finish. So we'll see how this holds up over the long haul, but for a cheap tool to save you some wrist twisting next time you're into a heavy build or you're putting together some beadlocks or doing something else that just has a bunch of long screws that get tedious to fire in by hand, for 15 bucks, this isn't bad. It does include a charger. So let's take a look at the specs. You've got a 400 milliamp charger. Charge time actually spells it out for you. You don't have to do the math. 3 to 5 hours, 1300 milliamp pack on board. And it says it's got a 230 RPM motor. So all in all, certainly not a premium tool, but for 15 bucks to see if it's something you want to add to your collection, great. If you want to get a more expensive one later, if you're buying a $150 Makita, starting out with a $15 Hyper Tough isn't going to hurt too bad if you want to make sure it's a tool you're going to use frequently before you take the plunge on a really high quality driver. So you can get one of these at Walmart. I'm sure there are also other brands that are similar, but this one, 15 bucks, not bad.